ingekuwa hakuna video evidence na si wewe ulisema these words out of your own mouth, ingekanika ni sisi ndo tuko na wazimu. Just listen to your government spokesperson fumbling for 3 straight days consecutively.
When you look at the law is very clear. The seal is under the head of public service. That is the law. It was passed recently because of the executioning. The role of the head of public service is to execute the orders of the president.
He clearly said that the seal was moved. That is one. And number 2, the role of the head of public service is to execute the orders of the president. That was the first time he said that.
The head of public service is the number 1 public servant in this country. And he has the seal of the president. He is the one who executes that which the president wants to be done.
When did our national seal become the president's seal? Ama president akona seal yake we don't know about. And he said it for the second time. The head of public service executes the orders of the president. He's not a madman. Alafu before we can process the information properly, he comes back and tells us, oh no, that's misinformation. I didn't know what I was talking about at the time. I take it all back. Do proper research before you start circulating these things. As if he's not the one who stood there and told us that 1, the seal was actually moved in a legal manner through a bill that was presented to Parliament and it was passed into law.
The public seal is actually under the custody of the Attorney General as per Article 9 of the Constitution. And if we look at the Office of the Attorney General Act, Clause 2 on definition of terms, it clearly states exactly that. And so therefore, this needs to go on record that the public seal is not with the head of public service. It's with the Attorney General, and that is misinformation, disinformation that came as a result of a process in Parliament. And of course, it was deleted. It was a proposal. It never went through, and we want to tell.
This is for entertainment purposes only, so as if it couldn't get any worse, family. Nabi Kaongo has now taken the national seal of the Republic of Kenya from the Attorney General's office, where it is supposed to be, and moved it to the office of the president, to this guy Kosgei or whatever, chief of staff, whatever, whoever that guy is. So when guys say all kinds of deals are being signed, and that even the Adani deal and stuff, those things were signed, sealed, and already being delivered, guys are taking it as a joke. And these guys are doing this now in 2025. They think it's the 90s and they can sell Kenya how they want and they can make all the deals. And then they're going to come and continue living here. Ama they don't plan on leaving presidency. Choices are going to have consequences. Like, you can't do this. Come on.
Since independence, the custodian of the public seal has been the Attorney General, but that is not the case anymore.
The seal is under the head of public service. That is the law. It was passed recently.
The statement by government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura is not factual, given that Parliament, through the Legal Affairs Committee, deleted an amendment to the National Government Administration Laws Amendment Bill of 2023. The President, through executive orders of 2023, had announced that the custodian of the public seal will be the head of public service.
The reason why the seal of the government is kept at the Attorney General, any government transaction, the opinion of the Attorney General is mandatory. And there is no borrowing from external forces. There can never be commitment of any international treaty. There can never be any commitment of government in any manner without the opinion of the Attorney General.
How many deals and how many covenants are going to be entered into and that are going to be sealed with that sacrosanct instrument without the country knowing about it, without Parliament knowing about it.
I, Felix Kiptarus Koskei.
with the government spokesperson now having confirmed that indeed Felix Kosgei is now the custodian of the seal. Lawyers and critics of the Kenya Kwanza administration feel these will easily open loopholes for dubious deals.
When you politicize the government seal and give it to a political appointee who sits in the office of the president and whose role is essentially political, we don't even know how many contracts, how many deals, and how many covenants are going to be entered into.
This is an attempt to overrun the state apparatus and kill institutions that are there.
Given that the Attorney General also serves as the President's principal legal advisor, the public seal, which authenticates government documents, was largely placed under the AG, ostensibly to first issue an advisory opinion before the seal is issued.
And we are likely, after 2027, we will discover trillions and trillions of money borrowed, purported to be borrowed on behalf of the Kenyans. We will find serious treaties that have been signed against the Kenyans' wish.
You start knowing things are bad when the government spokesperson starts calling our national seal the president's seal. Because that is exactly what Mwaura did. Isaac Mwaura called it the president's seal. That is when you know we are drowning. Proper. We are being drowned. Tunako kwa shimo ingine, we don't even know how we are going to get out of it. And our biggest problem, our MPs. Our MPs ni sisi tuliwachagua. We put them there. We gave them the power. They can decide to use that power to come about with good bills and pass them into laws, bills that are going to be beneficial to us. But time and again, they have shown us that they don't work for us. They're only there for their own selfish gains. As long as they're benefiting, all of us can go to hell. That is why they keep adding themselves salaries vile wanataka, wanapass zile bills wanataka, alafu zile sisi hatutaki, they still pass them. These are the people we need to recall as soon as now. As soon as we get a chance, MPs should all be home. Wanafaa kuwa recalled wote.
Mojawapo ya sababu kuu ama sababu mwafaka ya the public seal kutolewa kwenye afisi ya AG ni hii. Rais na mkubwa wa public service pamoja na AG hawakuelewana kwa labda kitu ambacho kingejenga nchi ama kingeharibu nchi. Na AG kuonekana kama kwamba atakuwa kizuizi cha namna fulani, ndio mojawapo ya sababu public seal ilitolewa kwenye afisi hiyo ikapelekwa kwenye afisi nyingine. Afisi ya AG kutokuwa na public seal ni kama kunyang'anywa mamlaka. Kwa hivyo, kwa simple terms, the office of the AG is no longer practical. Hakuna kitu hapo. You know? Patawekwa tu mtu. Na kama ni bendera fata upepo, ndo hivyo. The Kenyan president is capturing this state. Why? The executive ndo tulisha nawa yani. Uto ni tu kama tu vidoli, yani tupo tu. With titles, but hapa madebe matupo. Now the AG, that's why the AG was very comfortable walking out, because huwezi kwanza kufikiria na watu punguani. Na hawa watu punguani ni kama hawa mafuko yanayoitwa umu. Ndo asubuhi. Let me look for caffeine so that I can function properly.
2027, at the tallying center at the ward level, we will have Gen Z representatives to count the votes and to announce the votes. Alafu tutaungana kama Gen Z, kama ni Nairobi County, kuna Gen Z wa kule Githurai, Gen Z wa Kangemi, atatuambia ni ngapi na tutajua ni votes ngapi za rais zimepigwa katika Nairobi County, na tutafanya hivyo katika Kakamega County, tutafanya hivyo katika Bungoma County. Hamna haja
na magavana, MCA, mnataka zile za rais peke yake.
Lazima rais ametuchosha bana, lazima kwenda nyumbani.
The best way for Kenyans to vote in 2027 is two ways. One, don't vote for anybody who did not deliver when it came to their manifesto. Number two, do not vote for anybody who had any previous corruption cases. For example, when it comes to Sakaja, the current Nairobi governor wants to run for a second term. Now, I will be damned if I vote for Sakaja considering just one part of the manifesto, which is roads. He said that he will fix roads and he will fix drainage and water will be distributed to different parts of Nairobi. He said this and he has not delivered. Nairobi to go 2025, we are almost at the half of the year and the roads are flooding insanely even if it rains just a little bit. So what logic would someone be using if they vote for Sakaja for the second time? What logic would somebody be using if they vote for Pasaris, who is definitely probably going to run again for Nairobi women rep, and she has not been proactive in talking about like femicide cases and protecting women, which is her job in parliament. If we just focus on those two things, not voting for anybody who had any corruption case and not voting for anybody who has messed up their manifesto, I feel like Kenyans will be really, really far. Instead of focusing on voting for somebody because of their tribe, because they paid you 200 shillings, because you are voting for them just so that they can remove somebody else and you hope that they are going to do something better, please, I think it's time that we remove ourselves from the situation. And also to the Kenyan youth, we are the majority. When you look at people who are 35 and under, we are the majority when it comes to the population. By 2027, let's say all of us will be adult status and all of us can get a voter's ID and actually vote. I am really, really, really encouraging people to register to vote when that time comes. Let's not vote for people because of any other reason except those two. Let's be logical this time, please. Like, our lives depend on it.
Kirojinga hivi ndio inafanyia hii Kenya inaibiwa usiku na mchana. Hizi 300 TV stations and 1,000 radio stations you're talking about, where were they when the so-called public participation to move the national seal of this country from the Attorney General's office to the President's office was done? Why did they not broadcast it? A whole 1,300 stations, according to you. None of them took their time to explain to Kenyans what was happening. So zinatusaidiaje? Hata zikakuwa 3 million and they're still not giving us the information we need. They need to reform. This is not funny anymore. Jana, I was talking about distractions and how they happen so that tufungwe macho and very important things zitatupita tu. And to prove my point, it is today that most of us are finding out that the national seal, the Kenya national seal, left the Attorney General's office and found its way to the President's office. According to Isaac Mwaura, the government spokesperson, all that was done very legally. There was a bill that was proposed in Parliament and public participation was even done, and it was passed into law, giving them the authority to transfer the custody of our national seal from the Attorney General's office to the office of the President. And who brought the bill to Parliament, you may ask? Yours truly, Kimani Ichung'wah. Honest question. How is public participation done in this country? Because I'm very sure if Kenyans participated in the discussion, in the process, that seal will still be seated in the Attorney General's office and not the President's office. For the first time in the history of our country, our national seal is seated in the President's office. So who is the Attorney General of this country? Is it the one that was appointed or our President?
Kama unavyojua mimi siongeangi sana. Hapa inasema nini? Ruto seal grab. Na kuangalia what is a seal? What is a seal? Unaona inasema raw power. Quietly passed law transferring public seal, a symbol of government. Yani unachukua rubber stamp. Rubber stamp ile inasilingi deals Kenya. Yani ile stamp inaonyesha hizi documents ni za Kenya na kweli Kenya government imekubali kufanya biashara na country fulani. Kuna hii seal, kuna ile rubber stamp. Wacha tusome seal ni nini. The public seal. A public seal is a symbol like a stamp, like a nini, like a stamp, used to authenticate official documents to represent the government. Unaona, to represent what? The government. It's a way that shows that the document is real and legitimate. Ate nini? Legitimate. Usually affixed to important papers like decrees and contracts. Unaona, contracts ni pande ya procurement. Pande ya procurement. Wacheni nizidi kuwasomea hapa. Haya, hapa inasema nini? Inasema nini? Law signed by I am not a madman mid last year quietly moved the public seal from Attorney General's office to the President's Chief of Staff. Unaona? Inatolewa kwa nani? Attorney General. Na ukiangalia kwa miaka mingi, hiyo kitu ijaifanyika. Hakuna president rashe kuja, akaondoa seal. Seal ni kama stamp, Stamp ile inakuonyesha documents ziko legit kutoka wapi? Government of Kenya. Na ukiangalia hapa, first fact, where the public seal has been kept in 1920 to 2025. Ya kwanza ilikuwa na nani? Huyu I think alikuwa colonizer kitambo. Government 1918 to 1920. Kuna huyu mwingine, Sir Newton. 1955 ndo tupate independent. Sasa ikakuja kwa Charles Njonjo. Ikakuja kwa Amos Wako 1991 to 22. Ikakuja kwa nani? Githu Muigai. Tunaona tarehe. Sasa ikakuja kwa Justice Muturi mpaka 2024. Huyu akanyimwa. Huyu akaambiwa, huyu sasa ndo I think walisign hiyo law hapa. G denied custody of public seal. Hapa ndo sasa walianza kuchukua. Unaona? Kujawahi sikika president yoyote anachukua public seal. Anachukua seal. Rubber stamp. Anajiekea kwake, anapatia chief of staff. Chief of staff wake anakanga wapi? State House. Haya. Watu kuna hapa tu, yani lawyers, scholars and leaders want the move could undermine legal safeguards. Unaona? Ita undermine legal safeguards. Ita weaken institution. Yani utafanya biashara. Juu government imechukua rubber stamp. Hiyo ndio itakuwa itafanya procurements. Itakuwa inakuja, inaangalia, ina create problem, alafu hiyo inaleta solution. Na solution ikileta I involve companies zingine. Unaona, it will weaken institution, checks and expose the country to questionable government deals. Deals zinaenda kufanywa. Hapa ndo nawaambia, questionable deals that will waste taxpayers' resources, breed corruption, harm trust, discourage investment and deepen. Pia nasikia hata sijui. Unaona? Government itakuwa yani deals zile zinafanywa huko nje. Yani sasa amechukua hiyo rubber stamp, atakuwa anazurura nayo. Yani mutaamka siku moja mpate Kenya imeuzwa. Kenya imeuzwa na huyu madman. Mutaamka siku moja mpate Kenya imeuzwa na rubber stamp ilishawekwa imewekwa seal ishawekwa Sasa hiyo, this is regarded unconstitutional. Na unapata Justice Muturi anasema aliondokea siku ile alikuwa Dubai, walikuwa na force atengeneze deal. Hii deal ya bila kuweka hiyo seal. Akaona hapana. Mimi si sign chochote. Unaona? Sasa madman amechukua rubber stamp. I am not a madman. Amechukua rubber stamp, ameenda ameweka kwa State House. Sasa atakuwa anatembea nayo. Anaweka laws zake. Kama ni biashara ana weekend. Kama ni investors wezi kuja kuinvest. Juu sasa procurement ni yeye. Buyer ni yeye. Seller ni yeye. Mimi hata nimechoka.
Kenyans, tukubalianeni. We cannot allow ourselves kuwekelewa madeni as people enrich themselves and build generational wealth for their children, yet our children have nothing to inherit. We cannot allow that to happen. This country needs to be shut down for proper national debt audit, and it has to be done publicly. Na kila deni yenye imeshaichukuliwa ikuwe attached to the project it was supposed to do. And then we can see if that project was done ama hiyo pesa ilienda kwa mfuko za watu. According to Jimmy Wanjigi, some of the money that is borrowed for this country does not even go through the Central Bank of Kenya. It's just taken in some funny banks overseas, and it never lands in this country. That is why utapata the Auditor General will be there. Anaona yes, we have debt, but nobody has ever even seen the money. Hakuna mtu hata ashaisikia hiyo pesa ilifikanga ama ikufikanga. But the debt is there. So before atuongee kuhusu Finance Bill 2025, we need a proper national debt audit publicly.
Kwani wewe utakubali upige kura mtu aibe? Wewe kama Mkenya mwenye unateseka as we speak now, utakubali uende upige kura 2027 alafu mtu achukue aongeze rais? Kwa sababu anatuambia kwamba hakuna rais ashawahi kuwa one term president. Sasa wanasema hata kama rais hatapita, watachukua kidogo kidogo kutoka kwa zile zetu waongeze rais apite. Kwani wewe kama Mkenya who are going through a very difficult times as we speak now, are you going to allow people to steal your elections? Kwani tutakuwa wajinga aina gani? Tutakuwa wajinga aina gani turuhusu watu waibe kura zetu yenye tumepiga na venye sisi tunateseka saa hii? Atuwaibe waongeze yule mwingine apate aingie kama rais. Kwani sisi tutakuwa wajinga aina gani? Si wajinga walisha Kenya? Sasa itakuwa aje mtu atuibie kura zetu?
One time. Sasa nini? Ground. Atuongea. Sawa.
Hivi venye nanawa hivi. Ndio nanawa Ruto. Nimenawa Ruto kabisa. Nimenawa Ruto. Ruto Kasongo nimekunawa.
My people, unaingia kuiva alafu unaletewa one time kama chesa. Mulisema hamutaki kuchelewa in anything. Well, Kenyans, you never disappoint, and this is the reason as to why I just love my country, Kenya. Munakuanga macho na munakuanga sete in anything. Anyway, Aluta, the struggle continues. We have to drain the swamps.
Ese moyo